Today we're going to be working on this 69 Charger, and we are going to be using only toothpicks. I do have a wire just in case. I have matches in case maybe I want to use something a little more square. And then I also got this little piece of paper, so in case I need to, I don't know, make something else. So first thing we do is we're going to take the car apart. Normally I would drill it, but this particular car, if you can see it, has screws in it, which is pretty cool. Because the last time I tried to drill, I drilled a hole in my hand. So it makes me feel a little bit more safe. Now, the first thing I'm going to notice about this is there's no engine in there. So I wasn't really planning on this, but I think I'm going to have to build an engine. But first, let's continue to take off all the little plastic pieces so that we can use some use some paint stripper. And another lesson I just learned: wear gloves when you put this stuff on, because otherwise, nice glowy white fingertips. And it actually says it on there. I don't listen to anything. I drilled a hole in my hand. So the stuff worked pretty good. Let's see, it took about 15 minutes to strip as much as I could off. For some reason I couldn't get this off here, so I might just use like a wire brush to strip that. I have a bunch of crazy stuff in my little Dremel set, so I'm going to use this guy. That got a lot of it out. Not everything. The taillights are still absolutely ruined. They're plastic, so when you put this stuff on there, it really eats away at it, and not really good for it. But this is wasteland, so I'm just gonna basically chalk it up to they couldn't find a replacement taillight, which I know from personal experience is very hard to find in real life. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to figure out how big this thing is, and let's see here. So I'm basically just going to make a box for the engine, and then I'm going to modify it with toothpicks, as one does. Alright, now we're going to go that little fraction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of glue in there and move it around. Move it around in the little corners, making sure I get a little edge here. Now, in order to make these edges sit real nice, just gonna hit each corner. Now, what I use for filing things down, I got these tiny little micro files. I just want to gently file it down somewhat smooth and flat. When you put like crazy glue and stuff on paper, and kind of one of the reasons why I like to use, well, this is super glue, but one of the reasons why I like to use it, crazy glue, more so. Not really super familiar with how well super glue works, but it basically turns cardboard, or whatever this cardstock is, paper, turns it into a plastic, and so it makes it easier to file down, or makes it harder so that it doesn't bend up a bunch. That's what we're looking at here. Nice little square. Now we're going to make the valve covers. Use some toothpicks. Not really sure exactly how many we need, but basically I'm just going to cut off the angled pieces here. Cool. We're just going to take those, put a little bit of glue on it. Essentially just going to tack weld it, just so it stays together. So I'm just going to grab some sandpaper, find the most ugly edge. Down a little bit. So let's do a little bit on the other side too. They're both kind of ugly. Alright, so now we got an engine and a radiator. Let's adjust the lighting. Let's see if that goes. Yeah, that's right. Alright, so now we want to do the exterior roll cage. Fumble the car. Yeah, let's do an exterior roll cage and the Gatling gun. So I'm not going to show you how I do the Gatling gun. I'm just going to explain it. But first, I'm gonna go grab one. Figured to save time, I just grabbed one that I already made. So this is on the passenger side. Alright, so basically, you take a look here, and you just put some toothpicks in a circle, grind down the front end. On the side here, just took some sewing thread and wrapped it around a couple times. And the back end, a little box, I just made that out of the same stuff here. Just a little piece of paper. So that's going to go on the side. And I think I do want to put this on here first. Just because, actually, I might modify this a little bit. I feel like this might be a little too long. This is kind of how I do it. I just wrap it around and then make a little square, and then I kind of figure out pretty much from that point how to shape it. I'm going to glue it on. Probably not the smartest idea necessarily, just because, you know. Yeah, so it looks really kind of nasty right now, but I'm gonna try to do some trimming. With a utility knife and a file. So now we've got our gun. Let's build our roll cage, and it looks like they're having this roll cage come all the way across the front end here, which I find to be kind of interesting. I feel like that's kind of crazy. So I'm just gonna like break this toothpick just a little bit, just to give it some round shape. To kind of match the contour of the car. And then we'll trim it up afterwards, but you know, we just kind of going in and adding just some little bends here and there. See? That's a nice little contour, nice little shape to it. So this, I'm just gonna actually glue it. And then trim it. Yeah, the reason why I use the little sharp edges is kind of use those as little areas to grab glue. Drop some baking soda in there and then smooth it out. And so now we've got a nice little smooth transition. All right, so now got our nice full roll cage here. We got our engine, we got our radiator, got our gun. Pretty neat. Let's go ahead and work on this battering ram, which does not seem very complex actually. Let's not lose these screws. Kind of need those. So with the shape of the car and how it's got this little lip on the front there, I might just use that for the battering ram. Yeah. So let's grab some toothpicks and make ourselves a battering ram. Might actually only need one. But of course, 3 are going to fall out. So. First thing I want to do is I want to get the pieces attached to the front end first. And then go about doing the front part. What I'm doing here is I'm kind of looking at where the frame support is. I'm kind of gauging where am I going to actually mount these. And so let's cut some small pieces off here. Got ourselves a nice little top bar. And from what it looks like it's not really going to go up too far. So we're just going to cut a couple of small pieces. And we're going to actually wing it, you know. We're not really going to do any crazy measuring. We're just going to kind of go with what we got. I am going to use the previous one to make sure that both of those bars are the same length. Alrighty. Now it looks like we have actually all of the modifications done for the vehicle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back together, give you a nice little display, and we're actually going to move on to me painting it. So, nice little look. So there is our exterior roll cage, our engine, radiator, gun, brush guard, all of that fun stuff. Now, so I'm actually going to use this wolf gray, and I'm going to color most of the car. This is essentially going to be its primary color. And being that the first layer of paint that we're going to do, I'm not going to be super cautious about it. The one thing I am going to do though is I'm going to try to avoid body lines. Just because we want those to be visible. We want to be able to see the areas that are separated by blue and any other color we may be using, which we will be using other colors. So this car, they found completely rusted, as per the usual in our post-apocalyptic world. But it was predominantly rusted, and the doors were pretty much gone, the trunk was pretty much gone, obviously the hood is gone. So they were able to salvage some doors that they found along the way and work on making it a complete car for the most part. So the reason why I like this wolf gray is because it's very flat, and it's gonna really look good with our rust. Our rust is gonna seem natural because it's a flat color, and rust with the flat color just goes well. So, all right. So there's the blue. You noticed I did add it to the shell here. I kind of wanted that to match the basic blue paint, but now we are going to add some off colors. I gotta grab a different, it's in this one. I gotta grab a green, but I'm gonna be using a yellow on the trunk, a red on the driver's side door, and some ugly green. I don't want to use army green, but I feel like I use that a lot in a lot of different things, so I'm not going to. Maybe we'll use the commando green. Yeah, let's use the commando green. It's a little lighter than the army green, but it should come out also just as flat. We want flat colors for this car. So let's do the passenger door. Don't need much. And this is what I was talking about, finding those little pieces of trim That way we have a very distinct difference between the door and the rest of the car. Now this part's going to be a little bit more difficult because I've got a lot of glue built up here, but I think we might be able to work with it. The screen's actually kind of coming out a little bit lighter than I expected. I might change it up. Not entirely sure. Yeah, maybe these other ones I just needed to paintball and we'll fix it up that way. Basilisk brown that I'm using on the back end. I use predominantly Army Painter paints. I will just throw that out there right now. I like Army Painter, and I also have every paint color that they offer. So kind of makes sense to do it. Okay, this is interesting. So, this Commando green, what is it? Commando green kind of darkened up after a minute. I like that. Again, I'm just following the trim here, kind of giving it a small little outline and then dragging some of that color up. Other side here. Drag as I trim it. I'm just going to drag that color back into the body. Alright, so we're back. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like all the rust that was on it. I didn't feel like I did a very good job with the rust. So what I ended up doing was basically taking it apart, painting all the separate parts individually, and I put the hood back on. I really did not like this engine. I feel like it was poorly done. So what I ended up doing was just putting the hood back on instead. And I actually like it black, so I'm going to keep it that way. But I think the biggest flaw with the video was that I put all the parts on before painting them, and with an external roll cage you really want to paint it first and then put the roll cage on top, so it's almost like you want to build it around that. So I'm gonna put these pieces back on now. Hopefully they fit, because I did remove them, so there is that. And I think this is probably going to look a lot better than our previous final product. All right, yeah, so that looks a lot better than what it did before. So there you go. That's much better.